Well, happy St. Patrick's and happy Monday, Sonder family. You are here. You're ready to carve out this week. Get it planned and get ready to go. It's so good to see you. You have Team Jennifer on the call this morning. We are both. Jennifer Krippner is in Minnesota. I'm in the Dallas, Texas area. We both put on our green. We say today everybody's a little Irish, right? We celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Any reason for a party, right? So good morning. I've got a playlist that will reflect the fun of the day. I hope you have a lot of good luck today as we embrace another week. So here's our community guidelines. When we are here together, we always create a safe space. So we like to show these each time we gather together, just to remind each other about creating this lovely community, but also that this time is your time and it's about taking what you need for your setup and for your success this week. So be sure that you have set that chat to everyone because we support one another, we cheer each other on, and I love the support that happens here. This is the magic to me, is just gathering at the social. I don't know if we have anybody new here. I'm seeing lots of familiar names, but if you are brand new, be sure to do a little shout out so that we can all welcome you to our time together. Oh, Melissa, that's great. You have a wicked shirt that says some of us are just different. And isn't that beautiful, right? So a real quick shout out. Shanja, you're here from the hospital, not feeling great, but we are so glad you're here. Y'all may remember she had surgery on her tongue last week, and I saw your daughter posted in Sonder Club that everything went a little bit better than expected. So we're so glad for that. But we were thinking about you this past Thursday as you were going through that, and it's so good to see you this morning, so that's great. Oh, and look, Kenyatta has some Irish ancestry. I have a little bit a little more Scottish than Irish, but a lot of Norwegian. But Jennifer and I were talking about how fun it would be just to go over there, someday put that on that list. So Christy posted in our Sonder Club last week about using Jenny and just that coaching thing. And I like to just share those things with you in case you're still a little on the fence, not sure about that personal coaching. You can see what real life people are saying about how Jenny is supporting them in their journey. This is that 24/7 AI generated life coach that considers everything you are because of the intake process and then spits out some really, really fabulous info and guidance. And I love Christy's question because see her question she asked Jenny last week, if you were my tipsy bestie, what would you tell someone else about me? And I thought that was so much fun. So anyhow, there we go. So we are in week 3 of Vitality, and I think a lot of us I'm really enjoying this. I had shared at the front end of the month that this is something it's just kind of a guiding compass for me now, especially that I'm in the second chapter of my life, about how can I make sure that I am vital. I am living life to its most vital state. And I love this quote from Martha Graham. You know her from the dance world. There's a vitality, a life force, and energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. So just like that shirt says, we are all different. So I've enjoyed vitality, and I know that we have some Sonder family who they're in a season of grief or sorrow, and this one's been a little hard for them to wrap their minds around, and that's okay. I think when we can be reflective on the things that are hard, and when it's kind of hard to dig up those positive feelings, it's okay to embrace the season that you're in and consider these things through that lens of vitality, and maybe we're feeling like we're lacking it a little bit, I think that awareness helps us have some ways to see where we want to go. So no matter where you are here, and you have again this community. You're not all alone with this journal. You have this community walking with you through those things. So it's okay if vitality's not hitting like, happy, happy, joy, joy. That's okay. Embrace what it's teaching you now through this maybe tough season, because you'll survive. You've survived all those hard days so far. Um, Something maybe that will be encouraging. I love these two slides and I love the ASAP. I shared this at the first week of this vitality journey. Like maybe reshaping what ASAP means in your life. Just some of these beautiful words, as soft as possible. Maybe that's what vitality needs to be right now, that you are embracing life as slow as possible, as soft as possible, or allow space and pause. So if any of those kind of hit, grab a little picture. I always say, take pictures if you see something that maybe it's not hitting right now, but you want to save it for later. But I really love that because vitality isn't just about go, go, go and lots of energy. It's also about the balance and that other part that you need to be slow, to be rested, to kind of embrace the yin and yang. And then of course we have those energy givers. Like, are we making sure we're getting the things that we need? Maybe we're not feeling vital. Ask yourself, have you been outside and gotten a little sunshine? That's why in the winter it can be so hard to feel vital because we kind of have that seasonal stuff going on where we don't get a lot of sunshine. Are you eating the best way to eat? Are you taking time to read, to rest? To spend time in nature, to be sure you're drinking and being hydrated. Your brain needs that water. That's how it operates on its most highest level, is to be properly hydrated. That simple thing of hydration really affects just how well your brain functions. So lots of little things that we can incorporate to embrace vitality in whatever flavor it looks like for you. So this morning we're going to work on that mind map. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection and we're going to do a weekly setup. So y'all know I've been really excited about pulling out my cookie cutters and using them to set up my mind map. There's what I've been doing this month. You can do this anywhere. Oh goodness, Amy, you're gonna be a grandma. That's so exciting. I love it. The last page is always a good place to put this. If you are just here for the first time, this is, we always do a bonus prompt at these weekly setups. So this is your bonus vitality prompt. It's not anywhere in your journal. But set that up and then turn to where your vitality map is. And we are on week 3. So we have done our emotional vitality. How do we recharge? Last week we looked at community vitality, and this week the feeling of vitality. And just like I was talking about, think about the season you're in. It's okay to maybe have a slower approach to how when you're full of vitality. And, if say you are in recovery mode, like we have, Sonja is recovering. She's taking care of her body and she may not feel full of vitality. And I'm kind of calling you out as your recovering girl, but your vitality, it can be focused on taking those medications, giving yourself that slow space, making time to heal, to honor the things that your body is doing. Maybe that's what vitality looks like for some of you this week. So think about, how do you know when you are full of vitality? What are your body sensations, your emotions, your mental state, your social interactions, that spiritual alignment? A couple of things that I want to share, and then we'll put on some music while you work on this. I love this quote by Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And I think that really aligns with vitality. Also, congruence means you are living in alignment with what you know is the best you. And so the best you can look different, right? Depending on, again, those seasons that we're in. And there's my vitality mind map. And I'll tell you, as I started, it's kind of all over the place this month, or this week, as I started working on it, I started off with the feeling of vitality. I laugh more when I am full of vitality. And then I realized I started talking about rest and feeling rest. And so to me, when I am rested, for me, that is when I'm vital. And I started thinking about what that looks like through those 7 types of rest. Like when all of that, all of those rested needs are met physically, mentally, when sensory wise, I've taken myself off the phone for a while and gone outside. I've been able to spend time with so this all of those types of rest when they are met well, I feel vital. So that's kind of the direction I went in for myself. So I wanted just to share those 7 types of rest. But think about you, does it align completely with being with your people? Like that is the best part of feeling vital for you. Or is it when you have come out of a tough season and you celebrate yourself for doing that? Is that where you seek that vitality? Is that when you know that you are full of vitality? So I'm gonna put on some music while you consider this. We would love for you to share in the chat because maybe something will spark something for someone else, and then we will get on with our setup. Good work on that reflection. Let that kind of bump around in your head as you go about your business this week and think about noticing when you do feel vital. And, sometimes I feel vital when I've cleaned my house. And it's not that I like to clean my house, but man, when it's clean and tidy and that feeling, oh, so we can find those moments everywhere. So now I invite you to turn to page 44. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection. And I always like to frame this out as a practice of gratitude for what the week brought us, the good and the bad. Um, we'll start with the thorns. Those are the things, the hiccups that were in the way of a happy mindset. The things that didn't go our way, or maybe there's just something that's looming and we feel like we don't have much control over it. Just those things that kind of are scratchy. So the thorn for me was caregiving. My husband got the first of his two new niece, and so I've been, of course, his caregiver, and I don't mind doing that. But the thorn is, it makes you get behind in stuff like your regular rhythm and routine. And I know and I know that some of you are full-time caregivers, and that doesn't ever go away. It did get easier as the days went on, and we got a rhythm and routine. And when we lost the 2 a.m. medicine, and I could sleep, it was like this is like having a newborn. So anyway, but I feel like I'm kind of behind on things. And then the bud for me, those are those things that we're looking forward to, the emerging opportunities that are in our future. And they can be as simple as it's a new week. I am looking forward to two things, all the garden things, because I am a gardener, and we've had terrible wind up here in Dallas, and I haven't been able to put things in the ground because I'm afraid those little seedlings are going to get beat up. So I'm just anticipating. And then I have a girls' weekend coming up with my girls, the ones I raised my kids with, and they're both in the Houston area. And so we're going to meet in Central Texas and hang out this coming weekend. I'm so excited. And then my rose, which is the highlight of last week, the best part, it was spring break here. And my oldest grandson got to hang out with us for a couple of days. His mama was out of town. And so we got to take the oldest. Mama took the middle one, and then the little one stayed with my son. But anyway, he's so fun, 7 years old, and he's starting to get a sense of humor, and he thinks he's really snarky and funny. And it's just a hoot to be with him. And then my second part of my rose is that Jim is making good progress. My husband, I'm so proud of him, and he's working hard. So anyway, yeah, so much wind, Pat, right? It's just like unusual. Like we get a little bit of wind, but we had a dust storm of all things last week, which is unusual here. So, crazy, crazy. So anyhow, I want to know your rosebuds and thorns, and we want to celebrate the good things. But then we also want to remind each other we're here for you, and you're not by yourself with those thorns, that we're hanging out together and holding each other up. Thank you for sharing this time of reflection over your week. We're celebrating some really fun. I always love reading the roses. They cheer me, even if I'm having a bad day and I read your roses, it just cheers me up. Leanne, we're very proud of you because I know you've been working on that. You were getting your certification so that you could lead grief seminars. It's such an important work that you are doing, and folks are lucky to have you in their lives, but we are very lucky too to have you here. So I'm glad that that seminar went well. And then Carly was talking about, her bud is that she has a walking trail that she likes to do, but it's been muddy and well, it's drying out. She's going to be able to get back to that little rhythm and routine of her favorite walking trail. I love that. Um, Kate's husband's away for a long time, so that's not fun. Kate, gosh, you're solo parenting and all that stuff. Anyway, so glad that some of these roses are coming to fruition for you. You've got some buds, some things to look forward to. And then remember that you've got your Sonder family for those thorns. Now, I want to invite you to turn to page 39. This is that currently page. And I personally like to use this as kind of that mid-month check-in. And just kind of, do that little like, hey, how's it going, girl? What am I loving? What am I feeling? If you haven't done this yet, we're going to spend just a couple of minutes reflecting on it. And the reason I like to do this now, some people like to do it like each week, like at the end of the week, you could go and you could use each one of those lines as a 3-week check-in. I like to do it mid-month, and I like to do it paired with my stop, start, and continue box. I didn't used to do this, but this is what I do now. And I go do another check on those March intentions. Am I, going in the direction I wanted to go in when I set this up a couple weeks ago? Do that kind of check in with self. Maybe even take a look at your habit tracker. And y'all, I had set up my habit tracker. Those are those things at that front page, on page 11 of the things we want to do on most days. And then Jim had his surgery, and I have very few things checked off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of recalibrate. And I think I'm actually going to change some of my habits mid-month because the data that I'm seeing is that I did not set myself up with the right habits for the month and for the things that are going on in my life. So I want you to give yourself that permission, right? To kind of do a little mid-month reset if you need to. So I'm going to put on just a little bit of music while you do this reflection, and I'll be right back in to check in with you, and we'll carry on with the rest of our month. If you've already done this, then maybe, go back and look and see if there are any, like if you filled your currently out, maybe go back and really reflect over your start, stop, and continue and those intentions. And you could even start thinking about maybe what April's going to look like for you through the lens of what you've done so far in March. All right, just a couple minutes and then I'll be right back to check. It's kinda like when you're driving a car, down a freeway and you're just straight, going fast, moving forward, "Yay, that's my intention, I'm driving from here to here." And then you end up in maybe a construction zone, right? And you have to slow things down, recalibrate. You might have to take an alternate route to get to where you're going. It's okay. It's okay to give yourself that permission to change. Can you start your April journal yet? Melissa, mine hasn't come yet, but yeah, that's just kind of what happened. So consider, you get roadblocks, you get construction ahead, and you have to rethink so that you can get to that destination. And maybe you were planning to do that strength training every single day this month and you didn't. So how could you recalibrate and maybe phrase that out? And maybe your habit just becomes, I'm gonna get some hand weights and put them on the side table, and when I watch commercials, I'll just, maybe do that, right? Like, just take a little chunk, break it down into something that's smaller. So, anyhow, I think it's important to try to stay in alignment with what we wanted to do, and then if we have this data that we've been collecting on ourselves, we see maybe it's not going so great, we can recalibrate, or we can go, "Yay me, I'm doing the things and and I'm celebrating." But just, again, give yourself that grace and that space. This journal is a tool. It's not here to make us feel bad about not doing something. Although I will say it is there to help us celebrate when we do. So let's turn to 46 and 47. We're going to be looking at our weekly planner. And this is the page. You see the whole spread, and then my week 10 was over there. I haven't quite finished setting up for this week, so I don't have a new graphic, but it looks pretty much the same way. It's going to be my garden, and I want to be creative, and I want to cultivate or care for Jim. But here's a couple of different examples of our Sonder family, how they've set this page up. They look a little bit different. There's and how do I want to feel, that is a guiding, a couple guiding scriptures up there for the one on the left, but over on the right, I want to feel willing and warm, and then a little quote, little thought. You can see that the three major goals are set for the one on the left. The one on the right has actually turned those three major goals into a morning and evening routine. And I for one love a good routine, and I have a hard time sticking to a good routine. And then I don't feel vital. So I love that this person prioritized those routines over setting three goals for the week. And they've put their rhythm and routines down for morning and night right there in that goal section. And with little check offs, right? To do that self check. So maybe that's what happens there. Alrighty, so and Carly has already jumped the gun. We are going to look at how do we want to feel. She says, I want to feel active. Melissa says healthy. Think about what you just reflected on. Is there a feeling word that you could put here to guide the week as you might be resetting, recalibrate. Maybe you want to feel recalibrated. Mine is just caught up. I just want to feel caught up. Sandra's saying lighter. Holly wants to feel aligned. Annalisa, radiant. I love the word radiant. Productive and present. So kind of take a look at how you're feeling after the reflection we just did, and then putting that feeling word in that how you want to feel box, or the quote, or a sticker, or whatever you need. And we're going to take that then into those goals. If we are setting goals, we have our SMART goals. We want to encourage you that when you do goals, that you kind of incorporate the idea of a SMART goal, which means you're very specific. So instead of I want to run a marathon, it is gosh, my little screen froze for a second. Instead of I want to run a marathon, it's I'm going to put my running shoes by the front door, right? A very specific goal to get you to that. Um, that overall goal, measurable, attainable. Like I won't be running a marathon because my knees would not let me. So that is not an attainable goal for me. Relevant and timely. Alrighty, so here are some great examples. Some folks like to set their goals by categories. I'm going to go back through all of these slides while we work on this page. The one in the middle there has that little daily check-in. Again, if that's something that motivates you to check in with yourself and you have little mini trackers in all of these spaces, do it. Do what works for you. Here are some goals aligned with the to-dos, or as the person in the upper left, they changed their to-dos to weekly intentions, and actually wrote that out as I intend to. Another repurpose is just a guiding quote, a little compass point for the week, like you see on the right. And then we can repurpose this space into a checklist, into maybe just doing some 3 favorites, 3 songs, 3 things you want to learn about, a mini bingo board, really taking what you need. That good morning routine up there in that upper left is one of the rhythms and routines that I did for several weeks, instead of goals. So I put my morning routine in the goals and I put my evening routine in the shopping list. So that could be something that works for you. Then we'll move over into those to-dos. Don't forget that little calendar up there in the upper left corner could be utilized visually to give you some reminders as you're going through your week. And then our to-do list can be divided up into topics. You might have a work to do and a home to do. So there's lots of ways. I always love the idea of a dread list as we kind of finish out a month, look back at all the undones and create a list of those things that you're dreading to do, but you're going to do it. You commit it to paper. But there's a whole list of ways to use this space. Of course, we love this matrix, the Eisenhower matrix. And sometimes this could just be, maybe you put your housekeeping things on here to help you prioritize, or you have a special list for work and you utilize this tool of the Eisenhower matrix. Again, leaning into those mini bingos are fun. Y'all know I utilize this as a to-do list and celebrate the things that I get done that were not on the to-do list, but I want to give myself credit for that. Or maybe you have a to-don't list, in the reflection we just did over our intentions for the month. Are there some things you just need to cut out, right? And so maybe this becomes a to-don't list for that. And then we'll drop down to the bottom, that habit and activity space. I shared this graphic at the front end of the month about the reminder that it takes a while for those habits to get hardwired in our brain. So you should be bringing some of those habits, especially if they're new ones, bring them over from week to week to week so that they have that time to really become part of your DNA and who you are. Here are some examples from our Sonder family, circling the days that you want certain things to happen, having permission to not fill out every single line, and then some suggestions of habits. So I'm going to put on some music while you work on this page. Let us know if you're repurposing anything, maybe what has worked for you in the past. What habits are you bringing forward? Are you changing anything up this week? We want to know all the things, and then I'll be back to do the second page with you. Thank you for sharing in the chat some of the things that are going on for you this week, some of the things that you're doing in your habits and activities. We're going to go over to our next page, the B side, as facilitator Katie likes to call it, the B side of the record. We're going to be looking at the meal plan, the mind body health plan, the shopping list, and the I am loving space. And I like to do this whole page together because I've got lots of things to share with you. And while the meal plan may be repurposed, and we see some examples of that, some of those things would work perfectly in the shopping list, or perhaps you'll take some of those things and drop those in the mind body health plan. And vice versa. Maybe the way someone has repurposed the shopping list, you'll be like, ooh, I want to put that in my meal plan. So I've got lots of examples of some ideas for repurposing, or you're invited to use this space just as it comes, right? Just as they are. There's a bunch of repurpose ideas that I've seen from y'all. This is that list. If you want to grab a screenshot of that, something like a wardrobe tracker or a packing list. If you're traveling this week, one of these spaces is a good place for that. I've been using my meal planner this March as my spring cleaning list. And I've got that calendar. I'm going to show you again. I showed it the first week. I've just been pulling things off of that calendar and using that as my spring cleaning list. It will not be there in April. I'm going to do something different there. So that permission to, always make it work for yourself. Here's just a couple of examples of how folks have repurposed, have set up their space here. I like to point out again, if you're a tracker person and you like that check, you can see the one on the left under Mind Body Health, that guided meditation, stretch, 30 minutes outside, all those things that are going to feed their mind body health and really lean into and embrace vitality with little daily checklists or check marks so that you can do that. But let's carry on and look at some more examples, and then we'll come back and work on this page, and I'll go through all these examples while you're doing that. So if you see something you like, you can snap it or actually put it into your journal. Another couple of great examples of setting up, and I always love this one on the right. I share it in the springtime because we've got a whole thing on plant care. And that's just important. In my shopping list area, I have a bingo of my garden, all my garden tasks. Because that's just the time of year. It's high garden time. So I'm making myself a little bingo of those tasks, which you can see right there. So some of those things I want to make sure that I'm doing. I'm checking the bird seed. I put the hummingbird feeders out. I'm waiting for 30 minutes. I have 3 spots for that because it's never ending, right? But again, it's taking what you need. And then I've got lots of fun things for you to look at for the week. We can do some fun alliteration days if that's something that brings some vitality to your setup. There's our fun days this week. Of course, today is St. Patrick's Day, but I'm looking forward to the 22nd, which is National Goof Off Day. And then the 23rd is like a perfect duo. It's Tamale Day and Puppy Day. So I love that. It's kind of a fun way to frame out your week to maybe embrace some of those national days of. Now, this graphic that you see is actually a work environment, work office space kind of challenge week. There are some really good things. If you work on a team in any capacity, you can bring some people along for the ride with some of these things. But also they're great for just individual things. But like, grow a plant on Monday, share a compliment day on Wednesday. So perhaps you'll take some of those and put them into one of these spaces for your week. We have things like a self-esteem journal where you do a mini reflection. I've got a couple of these to show you that you may find beneficial to incorporate in your journal. I also love the graphic over there, the daily habits that will change your life. And it's kind of a fun 1 through 10 sort of list. I will be going back through these while we work on these spaces. Of course, there's the spring cleaning challenge I was telling you about. And I've been just taking the things that are on here and putting them in my meal planner for that week, breaking it up into those 7 things. Of course, the first week I was taking care of Jim and I got none of them done. So they have a repeat appearance. I did get the oven cleaned, which was a big deal. Maybe you want to embrace the idea of a photo challenge this week and you pull off 7 of the things from that graphic over there on the right, just to sort of welcome spring, be mindful, and take moments to notice the things that are bringing you joy in the week. Take a little picture of that, maybe post it on your Instagram that you're doing a little challenge this week. If you are a reader, here are some great ways of incorporating that love into one of these spaces. We've got a spring self-care. Maybe a few of these will speak to you for putting into one of the spaces on this page. Kind of go through and take what you need. And I know they're really good, Annalisa, aren't they? These are some fun graphics and just some ways to, I sit there with a blank page and I know I want to do some self-care, but then I'm like, what does that look like? Well, look at day 6. Air out your living space. Open up the windows. Let the sun in. I mean, what a great little self-care, but I wouldn't have thought of it on my own. So I love the idea of, borrowing from some good graphics. Ways to fill your cup. Here is a 1 week of gratitude. I've done this challenge many, many, many times. And so it's just, I put it in my mind body health plan on this particular week, but this was in progress one for me. Wanted to share that with you. And then I also want to take a moment to talk about that one thing box that's on our weekly spread, because I know from time to time it comes up, how do you use this? And so I pulled some examples that I found from y'all, just to like let you see how folks are feeling this. It looks like the first one up there on the left is just kind of the reflection of the day, a one-word reflection on how they're feeling. How did the day go? Um, there's some good quotes there in the middle example, just some little highlights. On the bottom example, you can do a daily gratitude, daily affirmation, your inspiring quote or word of the day, maybe a doodle, maybe the area of focus for the day. And then here's some other ways that folks have done that one thing box on the weekly spread. And this can change from week to week. Just like Annalisa says, it kind of varies. But right now, it's one person I'm intentionally praying for the day. That's beautiful. Maybe it could be a social connection, like you're going to reach out to one person and that person's name goes here. So thank you for dropping those things in the chat. Anne Marie says she uses it to write down what they had for dinner, just so you can kind of remember, maybe a little bit of a leftover tracker. So let's go ahead and work on these spaces. I'm going to put on some music while you do that. And, share in the chat if you repurpose anything, what comes up for you. And then we will finish up our time together. All righty. Now, I would like for you to take just a moment and drop in the chat, what are you loving right now? What is that little box filled with right now? What have you thought about? Do you have a new product? Did you try a new restaurant or a recipe? What are Carla is loving the daily affirmations. Jennifer loves the Hallmark movies. Yes, good vibes, the light that you bring into the world. Oh, Annalisa, yes, indeed. Start considering those things. Loving Jenny as your life coach, the sun, right? The longer days. I'm loving the just the longer days, the warm, sunny days. Yeah, Catherine, the best time of the year in Austin. It's our Chamber of Commerce days in Texas, right? Like if you come here now, don't be thinking this is what it's like all the time because August and September are brutal. Intentions, loving the windows open. Yes, yes, yes. So thank you. Keep dropping those in because that's just going to make everybody smile to know what you are loving. We would love to see your setup or just a section of your setup in the Sonder Club because that provides inspiration for all. This is always the fastest hour of our week. I'll leave you with the Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. Oh, the wind. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rain fall soft upon your fields. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for joining Team Jennifer this morning. It's going to be a great week filled with vitality. It was good to see y'all.